Hello, I'm Amara Jones, and today is Monday, April 13th. This is Caffeine TV, your daily news brief, here to take you through 3 headline numbers in just 3 minutes, giving you a different take on everything from housing policy to the Real Housewives. We are happy to be back after taking our spring break. The first number of today is 2, as in perhaps the second time is the charm. Yesterday, Hillary Clinton announced her intention to run for the presidency again in a YouTube video, which looked more like an Apple ad at Christmas time than an announcement for the presidency. Now, I should declare in full disclosure that I worked for the Clinton White House, but if Mrs. Clinton could pick me out of a lineup, I would be shocked. Now, the video contained a series of testimonies of people declaring things that they were getting ready for, like births and marriages and retirement, given by individuals that represent the coalition that Hillary Clinton hopes to put together to win the presidency, including blacks, gays, women, and blue-collar workers. It all ends with Hillary Clinton saying that she's getting ready for something herself, and that's a run for the presidency. But one of the groups of people that Hillary Clinton is having a hard time winning over are progressives in her own party. As a matter of fact, High Right of the Nation has an article in which he lays out 13 questions that Hillary Clinton needs to answer for progressives right now. But one of the challenges in all of this is that Hillary Clinton's public life, her time in public office, is longer than the lifespan of over 120 million Americans, including yours truly. And in that time, she's held everything from Secretary of State, she's been First Lady, she's been a senator, and was an investigator on the Watergate Committee. Perhaps the only position she hasn't had in American public life is dog catcher. And in that time, she's had a series of public positions, some of which didn't turn out so well, like on the Iraq War, but others that ended up being more progressive than President Barack Obama, such as on healthcare. So we'll just have to see which Hillary Clinton turns up over the next year and a half. But all that talk about people getting ready for stuff means that I need to be getting ready for something. The next number today is 500. That's the number of people who turned out to mourn the death of Walter Scott in South Carolina on Saturday. Of course, Walter Scott is the unarmed black man who was shot in the back 8 times by Officer Slager, who, after gunning him down, didn't call 911 and handcuffed him, reigniting the worst fears that were unleashed by the death of Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and others. And all of this occurs against the backdrop of a new report by the Washington Post, which lays out the fact that thousands of people have died in police shootings since 2005, with only 54 police officers being held to account for those deaths, with prosecutions and actually jail time. But perhaps the death of Walter Scott shows that we're actually learning something. In this case, Officer Slager was fired and indicted. No Officer Darren Wilson here. And at a rally on Sunday held by Reverend Al Sharpton, the mayor of North Charleston, and that city's police chief, where Mr. Scott was gunned down, both were there and participated. And municipalities across the country are looking at the ways in which they might systemically facilitate these shootings. So perhaps as time goes on, there'll be fewer and fewer Walter Scotts. The last number today is 1, as in the first time that a president of Cuba has participated in the Summit of the Americas. The Summit of the Americas is a gathering of all of the heads of state of the countries in the Western Hemisphere. But there was also a first at the meeting. It was the first time that a president of Cuba and the president of the United States have sat down to talk one-on-one. According to press reports, Raul Castro of Cuba and Barack Obama sat down to chat as if they were old friends. But one of the things that Cuba pressed for in their meeting was to be taken off the list of state sponsors of terrorism. The bottom line is that they can't get the investment that they need to grow until that happens. And I don't understand why that should be a problem. I mean, Pakistan isn't on the list, and everybody knows that they sponsor the Taliban in Afghanistan, which is right next door to them, which has killed Americans. But whoever said anything about American foreign policy being consistent? So with that metric, Cuba ought to be taken off that list.